Three, two, one. We are live. Welcome everybody to the first episode of Livin con el Oscar. Essentially, today you're seeing an introduction of what you're going to be seeing throughout the episodes of this platform. Essentially, what I'm going to be doing is having conversations with people who genuinely enjoy what they do for a living. These are individuals who have their own businesses, people who are in specific career paths, individuals who are studying something in school, taking classes for a specific thing. I just want to have conversations with people who wake up excited to do the work that they do every day. Who are you? What is it that you do? How did you get there? If somebody wants to do the same thing, what would you advise them to do? What would you change? All of it. We're just going to dig deep into the minds of people who enjoy what they do for a living. I think there's a very general consensus at this point through social media, people that you might know yourself, maybe you yourself are in that situation where you wake up and dread your day because of the work that you do or have to go do. And from being there myself in the past, I know it could be a very not so pleasant experience going to work in a space where you just don't like what you're doing. It could either be the people that you're working with or just the work that you do is shitty, or overall it's just something that's not fulfilling. So the intention of this is to gain that perspective again from those individuals who are in spaces where they like what they're doing, and maybe help you all gain a path towards what your calling in life is, or just in general to have a little bit of fun with these conversations. Mostly everyone that I'm talking to are individuals that I have met throughout the years, specifically in the past 4 to 6 years during the time that I was in college, and during the years that I have been traveling to other countries and other states here in the US. I've met some pretty cool individuals that do all types of different things. Some of these interviews are going to be in Spanish as well. We're going to be talking to native Spanish speakers. Así que vamos a cambiarle completamente ahí el idioma. Muchas de las entrevistas van a ser en español. I do want to share a little bit about my story and how it is that I came about creating this platform where I'm now having conversations with other individuals about the topics that I mentioned. And we'll start from the beginning. I'm born and raised in Sacramento, California. I also grew up in Mexico, specifically in Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is where my family is from. I went to school out there for over 6 years, so I gained that perspective of what it's like to live in another country and also experience their educational system. También me ha ayudado muchísimo con mi español. I'm actually going to fast forward up until 2016, which is when I started college. When I graduated my senior year in high school, I went to college with this idea of what I wanted to do with my life, which was essentially moving up the ladder, the corporate ladder with government agencies, and ultimately establish myself in a high-ranking position within the government. During my years in college, I had internships with different government agencies. So essentially I was doing the work that I would be doing once I graduated. And I realized that I did not enjoy it. I had the opportunity to work with 3 different government agencies, with the county, with the state, and with the city. And very quickly I realized that these types of jobs, at least in the space that I was in, were just sucking the soul right out of me. It was very repetitive, non-fulfilling work. I was in an office all day, just on the screen, doing things that anybody can do, and I didn't like it. At the end of the day, I didn't like it. So that really made me reevaluate my life and reconsider what I wanted to do. It set me on this mode of exploration again. Going into my last year of college, I actually ended up doing a study abroad program in Costa Rica, which was supposed to last 5 to 6 months. This was at the beginning of 2020. You all know what happened that year. We were about 3 months in when just the whole world seemed to be ending. My program got canceled. We all got sent back home. I ended up finishing the semester online. But during that time is when a new chapter of my life would start, given the fact that the whole world around us was completely changing. This is when I discovered day trading, specifically day trading stocks, something that would once again change my life completely as I became completely invested from the get-go, and all my time during the pandemic was actually put into mastering this craft. something that's like dancing. For those of you who have danced before, you realize that it's something that you never stop learning from. Same with day trading. It's been over 3 years now since I started, and to this day, I am learning every single day. I wasn't aware of how challenging it would be in the beginning, but regardless of the facts, I went full force. Not only has this changed the game for me financially, but I believe it has helped me grow as a person overall. I'll be getting a lot more into my day trading experience and what that looks like in the episodes with conversations with other individuals, other traders that I'm going to be having on, so that you all can get more perspective of what it's like to be a day trader in the American stock market. Now, when it comes to my day job, this is something that it took me years to get to where I'm at. I believe this to be the most ideal type of work for me. It fits my personality and essentially everything that I'm looking in a job. I currently hold a position with a couple of programs at the university that I graduated from as a recruiter for these programs. Essentially what I do is help students get into these programs and ultimately into the university as well. I myself have benefited a lot from being a student, so it's a very fulfilling job helping others get into the same path. That's a whole nother topic about college and all that, if it's good or not. Personally, for me, it's helped me a lot. I know a lot of other people have also benefited a lot from it. But what I do in this job, what a day-to-day looks like, actually varies depending on the week, depending on what we have going on. I work maybe one day out of the week in the office. Most days I'm either outside, going to schools, connecting with other programs, connecting with students directly, working at home other days. My schedule really depends on what's going on as well. I dictate my schedule as well. I check in with my supervisor probably on a weekly basis or whenever it needs to be done. But I do the things that need to be done for me to get my job according to how I see best fit. So I have a lot of freedom with what I do. I have a lot of freedom with my schedule. I get paid well, relatively. And I honestly enjoy what I do because it doesn't feel like work. Like I mentioned previously, it took me a long time to get to this job because on my resume, technically I have over 16 jobs. I think this is my 17th job. And I have been in some jobs that I would personally consider as terrible. For example, I worked graveyard shifts at the Amazon warehouse a few years ago. I also worked in retail as well as fast food. So I've been through those shitty jobs to get to where I'm at now, which I 100% feel very blessed and grateful. But I have also worked my ass off to get to this position. In a couple of months, I actually have something very exciting happening in my life. And for most people, this is going to be the first time you hear about it. So if you're watching this first episode, you're getting some exclusive content and information. And that is that I'm going to be moving abroad. I'm going to be moving to Spain to do an English teaching program. And I am beyond excited to do this move. I am a local from the city that I'm at. So for a long time, I've been wanting to get out of Sacramento and explore. The past few years, I have been traveling to other countries, but this has been more vacationing. Now I'm actually getting the opportunity to move abroad and live in another country. While I'm out there, I'm going to be focusing on my new job, which is going to be teaching English at a public high school. I'm going to be focusing on my business, which is day trading, and I'm going to be focusing on my other passion, which is traveling. Once I'm there, I know I'm going to be meeting other individuals as well, who I'm pretty sure are going to be doing cool stuff, whether that is that they're traveling themselves or I'm meeting some of the locals. I'm going to have the opportunity to interview them as well and share those conversations with you all. So this is going to come with a lot of changes, but a lot of exciting things to come. Now, to end this initial podcast, I'm going to be answering 4 questions that I'm going to be asking every individual that I have on the podcast. The first question is, what are 3 books and or podcasts that you would recommend to other people? For me personally, I'm going to share 3 books. The first one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read this book at the beginning of 2020 when I was looking to do something in the business world. Right before I came across day trading, completely changed my mind. I think we should have that book in the curriculum in high schools. The second book is going to be The 4 Agreements, a book that I deem essential for self-development and honestly just your outlook on life. And the third book is The Alchemist. I actually read this one in Spanish. It's about focusing on your journey and whatever it is that you're doing. Those 3 books are amazing. Aside from all the others that I could recommend, if you see behind me right here, I have a whole bunch. Question number 2 is, what's an advice that you would give your younger self? In this case, let's imagine a 17, 18-year-old Oscar, and that advice would be for me to be more patient with the process of everything that I'm doing. Many times in my life, I would come across certain situations where I would feel very frustrated because I wasn't where I wanted to be right off the bat, and that would just cause all these other issues. Question number 3 is, how do you define success in your own life? For me personally, that concept has changed throughout the years, and currently for me, success is constantly making progress in different areas of my life. At the end of every year, I like to look back and reflect on all of the things that I did and the ways that I improved in those things, whether that is in my finances, in my communication skills, in my physical fitness, in my outlook on life, in my relationships with people. Really just everything. Me making progress makes me feel like I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. So at the end of the day, looking back and not regretting the things that I didn't do, but reminding myself that, hey, you're not where you want to be, but you made this progress, or you actually tried. So again, making progress in different areas of my life. And question number 4 is a fun question that I'm personally very interested with the guests that I'm going to be having on, because of the fact that I myself am a huge fan of this. And this is a traveling question. The question is, if you could travel to any place in the world right now with all expenses paid for, where would you go and why? For me, the only place in the world that I can tell you was a dream of mine at one point to go and visit is Peru. And I actually had the opportunity to travel to Peru a year ago. One of the best experiences that I have had in my life up to this point. It definitely met and exceeded my expectations. So now that that is crossed on my bucket list, honestly, right now, I am just down to travel anywhere. I am curious about seeing as many countries as possible while I'm around. So if I can travel to any place, it would be every place. I want to see it all. I want to go everywhere. I plan on doing so, or at least as much as I can, and that is the plan. So with that being said, appreciate you all for tuning into the first episode of Livin con el Oscar. I'm very excited to be putting these conversations out there again with individuals who enjoy what they do for a living, so that we can learn from them, get some perspective, and ultimately just have some fun with the conversations.